Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Before we starting my own presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I am Fitri Hoyronisa from B1 class 2019. Okay, so in this time, I would like to explain my own research proposal with the title The Use of Discovery Learning in Teaching Reading Comprehension at the 8th grade. So, happy watching! Let's begin with the background of my research proposal. According to Mulyono Abdurrahman, reading is a complex activity that includes physical and mental. Physical activities are discussed with visual movement and visual activity. Mental activity. People can read well if they can see letters clearly, can move their eyes quickly, pick up language symbols correctly, and have enough opposing to get readings. Reading consists of several strategies to help read and understand the material. The biggest problem occurs in compilation students reading books. Sometimes students read books but don't read at all. They can only quote the word symbol without getting ideas from books. Researchers themselves improve compilation of reading books without understanding correcting sleepiness. Meyer shows that the discovery learning method is a technique that encourages students to take a more active role in their learning process, answering questions or solving problems that are designed to introduce general concepts that can increase student interest in learning more fun. Now here we go to the research question. There is 3 questions, and the first question is, how is implementation of discovery learning to improve the student reading comprehensions at the 8th grade? And the second question is, how is the improvement of the use of discovery learning in the student reading comprehension at the 8th grade? And the third question, there is, what are the student difficulties in learning reading comprehension using discovery learning at the 8th grades? And now we move to the objectives of the research. There is 2 objectives. The first is to describe the implementation of discovery learning to improve student reading comprehensions of 8th grade. And the second objective is to measure how is the improvement of discovery learning in the student reading comprehensions of 8th grade. And next slide, we have significance of the research. This study is expected to provide several benefits, including pedagogical, theoretical, and practical benefits. Okay, now let's move to the next issue. There is literature review of reading. And there is definition of reading from the experts. And the first from Tarigan. Reading is a process that is carried out as well used by the reader to get the message, which is about to be conveyed by writers through written language. And Somadio said that reading is an activity interactive to pick and understand the meaning contained in the material written. Furthermore, it is said that reading is a process carried out and is used by the reader to obtain the message conveyed by the author. And next, Nuryadi states that reading is a process that involves physical activity and mentality. One physical activity in reading is when the reader moves the eyes along the lines of writing in a reading. In this part, I would like to explain the purpose of reading. According to Ahuja, formulating 9 reasons someone's read. There is to love, to real life everyday experience, to enjoy emotional life with other people, to satisfy curiosity, especially why people do something in their way, and to enjoy a dramatic situation as if experiencing it yourself, to obtain information about the world we live in, to feel the presence of people and enjoy places that haven't been we have seen, and last, to find out how smart we are guessing and solving problem from Arthur. And this slide is about the objective of reading. According to Anderson via Tarigan, there are 7 reading goals. The first is obtain details or fake, or reading for details or fake. The second is reading for main ideas, and next, reading for sequence or organization, and the fourth is reading for inference, and next we have reading to classify, and reading to evaluate, and the last is reading to contrast. Move to the other slide. There is the types of reading. From Tarigan, reading aloud is an activity that is a tool for teachers, students, or even readers together with other people or listeners to catch and understand information, thoughts, and feelings of the author. Reading silently is reading noiselessly. Furthermore, it is said that reading silently can divide into two. There is extensive reading and intensive reading. Now I would like to move on to the new topics. There is literature review of reading comprehension. Definition of reading comprehension. There is two from the expert. There is from Siripanich and Suryanto. Siripanich said that reading ability refers to the ability to understand a reading passage which can be measured by reading test score, while Suyanto states that the aims of reading comprehensions is to get information from reading passage. Reading comprehension consists of two words, those are reading and comprehensions. And at this part, I would like to explain the component of reading comprehensions. There is 5. One is decoding knowledge and vocabulary knowledge, synthetic knowledge, discourse knowledge, readiness aspect, and the last is affective aspect. Let's move to level of reading comprehensions from Bourne. There is 4 levels of comprehensions. The first is literal reading, next interpretive reading, critical reading, and creative reading. And now let's talk about literature review of discovery learning. The definition of discovery learning is from Mulyono said, education for children with learning difficulties, Jakarta, Rinika Cipta. Discovery is a learning model that is developed based a view of constructivism. And Kurniasih and Sani said discovery learning is defined as a learning process that occurs when learning material is not presented in its final form, but students are expected to organize themselves. While Sani said reveal that discovery is find concept through a set of data on information obtained through observation or experiment. Here we go to the part of learning objectivities of discovery learning. The first is because students are directly involved in the discovery process. It is expected to be active in learning. Students can find patterns in concentrate and abstraction situations, so they can create questions that can be used to find information related to the process. With the learning process of students, discoveries from a way of cooperation, sharing and receiving information they get. And the last is skill gain in the learning process of discovery. In some cases, students are easier to use in other case application. Now we move to the point of steps of learning discovery learning. There are 6 points. The first is students are made into groups. Each group consists of 3 till 4 students. The second is the teacher gives material and worksheets that will be used as discussion material. And the third, learners observe and discuss the material that has been brought by the teacher with the group. And the fourth is learners work on group worksheet. And five, each group presents their findings. And the last is the teacher and the student correct the misunderstanding of the material, then make conclusion together. This leads me to my next point of advantages of learning discovery learning. There is learners can actively participate in the learning process that is taking place. And the second is growing and instilling the attitude of looking for so that it can support the ability of student solving problems. And students are directly involved the discovery process so that the knowledge they acquire relatively lasts longer and motivate themselves to express opinions. And five, improving student reasoning and ability to think freely. And the last, train student cognitive skills to find and solve problems. While disadvantages of discovery learning, there is not efficient for teaching large number of students because it takes a long time to help them find theoretical or solve other problems. And next, expectation contained in this method can be disparate vis-a-vis students and teachers who are used to the old ways of learning. And discovery teaching is more suitable to developing understanding, does not provide opportunities for thinking that will be found by students because they have been chosen in advance by the teacher. Now finally we meet the methodology and research procedure. I use research method, descriptive qualitative method, and preparation procedure is from the problem issue in the classroom, meet with the teacher and doing interview what the student need, make a strategist or method with their situation and their need. An implementation procedure is observing systematically the effects of the action and documenting the context, action, and opinion of those involved. While evaluation procedure, we evaluate and describe the effects of the action in order to make sense of what happened and to understand the issue you have explored clearly. And population and sample from the junior high school YPKKP Bandung, in which total class of 8th grade are 9 class, and in this research conduct in one class. While subject of the research is one class of 8th grade junior high school student YPKKP Bandung, the total of student is 32 with specification male 16 student and female 16 student, and their characteristic is low in reading and the student not interested with reading activities. For instrument of the research, use test, observation, and documentation. The procedure of data analysis using SPSS and Microsoft Excel, while for the schedule of research is spending time 6 months. So the conclusion is discovery learning can make the student more interesting for reading activity. Okay, so that's my own proposal presentation. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.